You're live now.
I'm live now. Awesome. Well, I will let some people join, but in the meantime, I will welcome everyone here. State of the Minimate address. Last time I did one of these was a couple years back. I put a little podium over here. I put some presidential music in the background, and I just did a video. But I thought with all the changes and all the stuff we've got coming up that a live show would be the way to go. And the cool thing is yesterday, I've been working with Bradfield, who's designed hundreds, probably thousands. I'm not sure the exact number. I don't even know if he knows the exact number. Maybe he does. But so many official Minimates, probably your favorite ones in your collection were designed by Bradfield. And I've been working with him over the last few months. We're working on some cool stuff I'll talk about here today. But he's going to jump in here for the Q&A part here after I get a few announcements out of the way. So I'm super excited about that. So just to start off, as people are joining with what's kind of been happening with the Minimate brand, some of you probably know this, but just in case there's a few of you that don't, Diamond Comics owned Diamond Select Toys. Diamond Comics went bankrupt, and that pulled Diamond Select Toys into bankruptcy. Diamond Select Toys, of course, the company that owned Minimates and Marvel Select and a whole bunch of other brands within it. So when Diamond Select Toys went bankrupt, the Minimate brand was obviously in flux. The new owner, Ad Populum, they are part of a conglomerate that owns other companies, including NECA. Am I saying that right? NECA. I never know what the actual proper way to pronounce that is. NECA. So they're not a small company, but they're having a lot of legal troubles right now because of how they took over Diamond Comics, and they didn't pay all of these smaller publishing companies for the comics that were already in the warehouse. It's been a legal battle for months. It's not getting better anytime soon. I've talked to my Diamond rep. I've talked to him recently, and he said the update's the same as it was months ago, that they are so embroiled in this legal battle that they haven't even looked at the Minimate brand. So on the official side of the brand, nothing new is happening. Now, when I did a live show, I can't remember if it was the last one or two live shows ago, I promised everyone that I would look into what it would take to buy the brand. What would that look like? And I talked to people in the toy industry, I talked to a business analyst, I talked to a patent lawyer and a business lawyer. I did a ton of research. These people that I talked with did their own research. Some of you might remember in a past Q&A with the former Diamond Select Toys president, Chuck, that Chuck said, we'd never get a license just for Minimates. It just doesn't make sense dollar-wise. And unfortunately, through all my research and talks with people, came to the same conclusion. The Marvel license itself is so unbelievably expensive nowadays. And if I were to get a group of investors to somehow buy the Minimate license, the Minimate brand from Ad Populum, it doesn't come with the Marvel license. When you buy a brand from another company, you have to go acquire those licenses again. You have to enter into new license agreements. Not only is the Marvel license incredibly expensive, the Ninja Turtle license, the G.I. Joe license, Transformers, licensing that stuff from Hasbro is a fortune, the Aliens license, all of these licenses that we love for Minimates are prohibitively expensive to have that license only for Minimates. The numbers would never, ever, ever make sense. And that's why Chuck said we never look at licenses just for Minimates. They had to have statues and lunchboxes and Marvel Select size action figures. They had to have all these other products to support those licenses just because how expensive they are. So I guess the bad news of this news broadcast here is that I'm not buying the Minimate license. No one that I know in the industry is buying the Minimate license. It is still tied up with Ad Populum. I think our best hope at this point is that NECA, I'm just going to say NECA for the rest of this broadcast, Nika picks it up since it's already the same parent company and they would run with it. Or from what I've heard, the comic book side of the new owner is in serious trouble because of those lawsuits. And that comic book side of things might go into bankruptcy again. And maybe Diamond Select Toys is tied up with that. And maybe there'd be another new owner that would come along that would pick that up along with the comic book side of things. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I'm a very positive person. The people that know me know I'm a ridiculous optimist. So I don't think the line is going away, but we're definitely in one of those transition periods. And what I'm going to do my very best to do is keep the line alive until then, through all the different products and the different upcoming stuff that we have going on. So that's the real reason I wanted to have this live broadcast today, is because we got a lot of cool stuff happening. And I kind of wanted to encapsulate it all for you so you know that I'm not stopping anytime soon. Like, even though the Minimates official brand is on pause, we are definitely not. And I'm going to try to keep this thing going as long as I possibly can. And now I've got Barry Bradfield. And I am so honored that he was willing to work with me on this. And I'm just going to say it right away. He's got 4 new stickers designed, sticker kits for 4 Marvel characters. We decided right out of the gate to do Marvel characters, even though there's so many characters Barry could do. But the 4 that we picked are specifically picked so you don't have to sculpt anything or paint anything. It's all made with existing Minimate parts. And I got so freaking excited when I saw the designs, because it was like Minimates was back again. It was like seeing a new reveal at Toy Fair, or a new reveal that Diamond just put up out of the blue. It felt like an absolute return to Minimates. I can't wait to show you guys the designs. I am so excited for these. So these are going to be individual character sticker kits, kind of like the ones I've been releasing, but these will be from Barry, and they look very official. And he's been working with me on my sticker templates to modify his designs to fit those templates. And we're very close. I don't have an exact timeline yet, but we're really close to those being released. So I am so excited about that. And that's just the first 4 characters. He's got ideas for so many more. And him and I are coordinating, because I'm going to keep doing my monthly, or even more than monthly, full custom releases. I'm going to keep releasing my older library of characters while he works on other new characters that people can make. Maybe with parts you already have in your collection, but at the very least with parts that are available on, maybe through our store, through eBay, through Amazon, things like that. Barry's going to jump on this Q&A after I get through all my news items, so you guys can start thinking about questions. You can either start putting questions in the chat right now. I'm going to wait till we get to the Q&A part to address any questions, but feel free, as I'm talking here, start throwing questions out. So as far as my character stickers go, I posted an update a couple days ago. I've got 6 more coming out soon. I posted Spawn is in there. I know I've got the Tinkerer. I've got Usagi Yojimbo. It's a pretty wide selection, 6 more characters, and I'm going to keep on pumping out more of those on a regular basis. Also, I realized with some of these that for some characters, all I made was their face, because like Jarvis from the Avengers, you just need a Jarvis face, and I guess he had the top of the head, and you can get a body of someone that's in a suit. So I'm not going to make someone buy this whole character kit if it's just a face sticker. So in addition to individual characters, I've got these face sticker kits where you get, 5 character faces. Instead of you're just buying 1 character, you're getting 5. And it all works with existing parts, giving you guys a little more bang for your buck. For my custom releases, currently, you guys probably saw this, I've got Pete Wisdom from MI13 Excalibur up. He is not the most complex custom, but he's also cheaper than usual. He's only 20 bucks, but I also didn't have the parts to make very many of him. So there's only a couple left right now. I can only make 18 of him. To be real honest with you guys, he was a backup custom. The main custom I wanted to make was this classic Marvel villain called Plant Man. Thought I got all the parts for him. After I actually went to start making him, I realized I used his hands and feet and waist for a different custom. So I didn't have the parts to make Plant Man anymore. So now Plant Man is going to get released as a character sticker later on down the road. For my own line of customs, I've got the next 15 planned out. And we are in Minnesota where it's cold as hell, and I'm waiting till spring for some really heavy hitters because it's stuff I have to spray paint. And I can't spray paint in the Minnesota winter. We're basically living in an igloo here. So once spring rolls around, I can start spray painting. I've got some big releases coming out. I want to keep the line rolling, so I'm going to try to get these out more often than usual. Lately, it's been like every 6 weeks. I want to get that down to like every 3 or 4 weeks. And I know for some people that might be a financial strain. If there's ever a custom that you absolutely really want, like, God, you've been waiting for that figure forever, but you can't afford it. When the custom goes up for pre-order, just shoot me a message. I'll set one aside for you. We can take care of it whenever down the road. I don't want people to be left out if I'm releasing stuff more often just because they can't afford it at the time. So just going to put that out there right now. The other thing I am so excited about is my Minimates stands. I have wanted to do this for years and years, and it finally is coming together. A lot of these I have not even shown yet. I've got logo stands for Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men. I've got effects. It's going to be this huge variety of stands, and these, we're going to put the stickers on for you. On these ones, we're not going to make you guys try to get it lined up perfectly. We've got it down to a science. Those stands will be going up for pre-order. Well, it won't even be pre-order. No need to pre-order those. We're going to have those ready to roll probably in 3 weeks. And it's hard to even tell you from pictures and videos how good they look in person. Like to have a whole shelf of each character on their own specific stand that's suited for them, or to have the whole X-Men gold and blue team on the X-Men base, your Avengers on the Avengers base. It looks so freaking cool. And I'm gonna have my whole collection decked out in these, and I hope you guys will too. Minimates Showcase Day, that's still gonna happen this year. I have been getting in packages like crazy of different things I'm testing, different things we're gonna release that day, new accessories, new backdrops, dioramas. But there's gonna be another sticker kit. That's kind of what drives the timing of Showcase Day, where I'm not gonna release it until a new sticker kit is ready. I'm hoping for April this year, but no promises. But it's gonna be a Marvel Robots sticker kit. It's one I've been working on kind of behind the scenes for a while. I have a 3D printer working on a couple parts for it, but you're gonna see things like Jocasta. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. That's how I always said it when I was a kid. The Silver Robot from the Avengers. It's gonna have the Super Adaptoid. It's gonna have all of these well-known Marvel robots. Rom the Space Knight. He's not even technically completely Marvel, but he was under the Marvel banner for a while. It's going to be a lot of robots that people love all together in one kit, kind of like my Marvel Aliens kit and Monsters kit, or the recent DC kits. So that's something to look forward to as well. I've been digging up past sticker kits. Some of these files have been hard to find. I had some old hard drives that died, and they have files stuck on them, so I'm trying to get those fixed. But one is, people have asked me over the last year about my Star Trek sticker kit. I did stickers that would work with that Star Trek Legacy line to make more first contact characters from the next gen crew. So like Geordi LaForge, Beverly Crusher, William Riker. Those are in this older Star Trek kit. I took it and I updated it. Updated it to work with our newer stickers, cover up more of the body. Even some of the faces got updates, like Will Riker's face. When I dug it up again, I was like, ooh, I can make that better. So I improved the kit. That re-release will be coming soon, and I'm trying to find these other sticker kit files from my older kits to try to resurrect those. Because I know not everyone was able to get them at the time. Plus, I can make them better now anyways. And then we'll continue doing Loose Fridays and part releases. Heidi, my wife, she packs a lot of your orders. She's behind the camera right now. Her and I just got into big shipments, some packaged stuff, some loose stuff that we're going through now. So Loose Fridays are not going away anytime soon. It's not every Friday, but I give you guys the heads up when it's coming. And then another thing I'm super excited about is one of the guys that does a lot of our 3D printing, like for those of you who got the DC kit, the Zatanna top hat and hair, he's done other stuff for me as well. JPD Customs, just search for JPD Customs here on Instagram. He's amazing. But he's working on some new parts, not only for my Marvel Customs, but he hit me up a couple months ago and was like, Luke, the classic Ninja Turtles line, the Nickelodeon cartoon line, I would love to see that continue. What if we work together on some stuff for that? Get some more of those classic Ninja Turtle villains and supporting characters out there. And I absolutely love that idea. I went through all my parts, figured out which characters we could make together, and those characters will be released just like my Marvel characters, a limited run, and I'm also going to work on a Ninja Turtle sticker kit. So other characters that you can make with existing parts from those, you know, the Blimp set and the Technodrome set. And even characters like, you'll have a ton of hand or foot ninjas, but the classic cartoon had a few different versions of those foot ninjas, like a battle damaged robotic one. And I can't remember the name of the one. It was like an Omni Ninja or something. He looked different. He was like a big brain character, but those types of stickers are going to be in that kit. So kind of expanding that Ninja Turtle line. So those are all the like announcements I wanted to make to let you guys know all the fun stuff that is coming up. So now let's get Barry in here so he can hop on and let's do some live Q&A.
He's not invitable.
He's not invitable? Barry, you are not invitable.
Other people are invitable.
Other people are invitable, but not Barry. Okay. That's weird. Why would Barry not be invitable? Well, if anyone knows why Barry would not be invitable, put a comment in, please, and we can get that sorted out. In the meantime, I'm sure Barry can respond to comments with text. Maybe let's start with any questions that wouldn't pertain to Barry, any of the questions that I couldn't answer. Dale Mills is very excited for Usagi Yojimbo. It's a great custom. I never made one for myself, and now I really want to. Originally, I sculpted the ears, but you could use ears from the Easter Bunny, Nightmare Before Christmas Minimates. There's Lego bunny ears you could get. So other than the ears, it's a pretty simple custom, really. Someone asked about more generic sticker kits like ninjas. I did have my old ninja sticker kit. That one I do have. That one is not stuck on one of my broken hard drives. That's one of the ones I am looking at updating. So that will definitely be happening. Blank Minimates for the stickers, so I don't have to sacrifice Minimates. Or so people don't have to buy it from the store. I don't have a way to source blank Minimates. When Diamond was still up and running, I tried to get Chuck to make blank Minimates for me. He wasn't interested. Tried to get like logo Minimates. So like, hey, it'd be a Luke's Toy Store logo on the chest and everything else would be blank. Wasn't interested, so I tried. Unfortunately, blank Minimates are not going to happen anytime soon. And I really wish they could, and maybe the new owner will see the value in customizing Minimates, giving those options to people, kind of like the way some of those like vinyl figures would offer blanks for people to paint their own, that they knew the value of it. I think for Minimates, it's important too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a debut Spider-Man 3-pack. I don't packaged one, but actually this new set of loose Minimates that Heidi and I are going through for Loose Friday has both of the figures from the debut Spider-Man pack in it. So at least unpackaged, it's available. Barry with us now?
Barry's here, yep.
Hello.
Hey, thank you for joining.
Still trying to figure out what I'm doing here. I was on desktop, and that might have been why, so I've just switched to my phone.
Perfect.
So I'm just sorting that out. Except now I can't see the chat. So
I got the question, so.
okay, that works. Hello.
Thank you for coming. Do you want to share anything about what we've been working on?
I could, well, I could show them or just talk about them?
Oh, this would be a cool time to
Ooh.
show one of them. Let's do a sneak preview for everyone here.
Let's just see here.
Sorry to put you on the spot like that.
That's okay. Okay, I can see the chat on desktop now, but I've got a delay. So I can see myself in the past. I'll make it work somehow. Let's see here. Should I show all of them?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I'm just gonna have to show my own screen here and hope for the best. Let's see what I can do. Aha. Okay, here's the first one. We've got Machine Man with alternate parts for his more, I won't say modern look, but I don't know. I just always kind of knew him like that too. Um, so yeah, that's our first one.
That's probably the one excited about all of them, but I've always wanted a Machine Man. I've had my list of figures I wanted to customize for myself, and Machine Man's been on that list for years.
So that was one that I don't know why it never got made. Although I'd always heard like there was troubles with him. I didn't realize that he was actually made for Space Odyssey comic or something, and then he became a Marvel character. I don't know,
Hmm.
but other companies seem to make him, so I don't know why we couldn't at the time, or we just didn't, rather. But anyway, so that's the first one. The second is Wasp from her 2000s era outfit, which I always love this outfit. And there's a few times I tried to get it made, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work.
Yeah, I feel like Wasp kind of got the short end of the stick with Minimates because we got so many Wolverine costumes, Thor costumes, Superman costumes, but Wasp had like the biggest variety of costumes of almost any Marvel character, and yet we got so little of her.
I think we did like two, like not counting MCU and animated. I think like once she was live action, that was it, and then we did like a few MCU ones, and we did that. I forget what series that was now. The was it Avengers Assemble or Earth's Mightiest Heroes, or I think it was Assemble, and that was sort of it. But we had that first one that she came with like 3 different outfits, and then just we never touched it again. So this is one
And
that I always wanted to do. So
that's a great one too for people that like, if you just want to find a black base body and the right hair and get some wings from the other Wasp, you don't have to touch a lick of paint. But she has
no.
those yellow designs on her hands, so if you want to go just like a little bit further, you could paint those on.
Yeah, like yeah, the hands I put them in there anyway, but the hands and feet little details wouldn't be stickers. There's no real way to apply a sticker around the hand like that. But I don't think you're missing anything if you don't include that. But I thought I'd just put it in there on this drawing. So
Yeah.
that's number 2. Number 3, we have I guess technically, well, it's Yelena, but the White Widow at this point. This is her more modern outfit. I think it started in the Thunderbolts, the recent Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
That
we were Barry and I were talking, and I was like, "Oh, I'd love to have her alternate face with her night vision goggles." And just like with Machine Man, it's like, "Oh, it'd be nice to have his alternate face." And we just kind of decided, you know what? For all of these, we're going to do an alternate face for all of them. So even more, if you want to go a little further, and you could make 2 versions of each character if you wanted to.
yeah. Because yeah, at the time I was like, why aren't we doing 2 faces? Because he just suggested the goggles, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess we could just do that, couldn't we? So yeah, there's Yelena. And originally, sorry, my hand's getting shaky here, holding up my phone. Sorry, everyone, if I'm all over the place here. Originally, I wanted to do this version of her, and I did it. And then when I looked at it, it just felt like a bit more of a quick custom to me. So then I made that version instead. But I was like, well, the work's done. Let's just include both of them because this is how I knew her. I worked in a comic store for quite some time, and when she debuted, this was how I knew her. So this is what I picture when people mention the character. But since she's like again mostly black, there's the belt detail in the chest, and the faces are the same as the other one. But then you have two options for her.
Yeah, and those will come bundled together.
And then the final one is Titania. That's how I always said it. I've heard Titania too. I don't exactly know. I've said Titania though, which I guess makes no sense because it's based on like Titan, but hey, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, she's one I also want for a long time. I always said Titania, but you know.
Yeah, Titania makes more sense.
And I
Yeah,
know
that's
I've seen,
awesome.
when people would make their list of characters they always wanted to see, she was on the list a lot.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, yeah, she just kind of fell by the wayside. So, but yeah,
There's a couple of people I think came in late and are just a little confused that these are customs. I'm trying to message them, but they're not new Minimates.
Oh yeah.
no.
Well, no, we got Barry on. He is the official designer of Minimates, but these are just sticker kits that people will be able to get to make their own customs. Official Minimates are still in limbo, so we are keeping the excitement and the line going with these sticker kits in the time being.
So yeah, so those are our five. I don't think there's anything else. No. Yeah, that's all five. Yep. Let me just switch my camera back here.
So we're
Come
going to
on.
start with those and keep on rolling with more releases. They won't all be Marvel, but I wanted to start with Marvel just because these particular characters were not only meaningful to me and Barry, but the other people I know as well. So what other questions do we got for Barry?
Here we go.
It's like people are happy about the Star Trek and Ninja Turtle stuff that's coming. That's awesome. Smashmaster said to thank us for keeping up the good fight, keeping the passion alive.
Smash Master also said this kit feels like a great lock final wave. Thank you for the great picks. And now your guys are getting requests. So Modern Blade, bigger scale Sabretooth.
So the problem with some that at least I realized at the time, I'm sure Luke's gone through this a lot based on all the sticker kits and the customs he's done, is I made, like originally when Luke said to come up with a list, and I was like, oh, let's daydream. And I just came up with anything. And then I slowly came back down to earth and realized they kind of have to be executable in a way that can be done with flat surfaces because the stickers can't really wrap around like the ball of the upper arm. So stuff like, because like, yeah, I've wanted like a large saber tooth or something like that, but I don't know if that would really work out as well with the stickers. And then also we wanted to make sure that they were the parts were sourceable. So even with some of these, there are specific characters that I've matched the color to. So like we'll presumably have a list of, you know, what parts, what figures to source them from. So I love wish lists. We would make wish lists all the time, especially my two painters, Jeff and Brian. We would just sit there and come up with anything we could think of, and then realize after that, as Jeff often called them, the sales death lists. where we're like, yeah, this is a fantastic idea, and then we come back down to earth and are like, no, that's a terrible idea. We can't do that. So it's that kind of thing where it has to make sense for the reused parts and such to make them easy to do. So, but I love lists. If people want to send lists, by all means.
Yeah, and also as far as sourcing the parts go, we tried to make it so the base parts you had to get weren't super rare. Like we're not going to make you track down a Toys R Us Bullseye and Moonstone set or
Yeah.
they should all be reasonably priced sets so you
Yeah.
can make these customs without breaking the bank.
Because actually, I looked at there were some ideas I had, and I was like, oh, that'd be great. And that's the figure we could use. And I was like, wait a minute. And I go to eBay, and people were paying like $50 for it, just for like, and I was like, oh, I just wanted to use their arms. I'm like, nobody's going to pay $50 for some arms. Like, let's sort that out, do something else with it. So,
All
yeah.
right, Barry, Dale Mills wants to know your dream line of Minimates. No limits on license or anything like that.
Oh boy. The mind goes to so many places. So my first reaction, which is probably one that I actually made line plans for, not that they were remotely close to happening, but sometimes I just do that. You're waiting for a meeting to start or whatever, and you have nothing to do. So you pull up Excel and you start making line plans just for fun. I'm probably the only person who's ever done that, though. Indiana Jones was the first thing that I popped into my head. I love Indiana Jones. Raiders is probably my favorite movie of all time. Uh, and like you just think about the possibilities in that. It's probably not great though when you think about the toy lines that have happened with Indy, and they kind of go away pretty quickly because it's a bunch of guys in suits. But man, do I love those characters! So that would be great. I'm just looking around my office here because I have a lot of statues, stuff that I like. I like far too many things. James Bond, of course, which would be another one. I've often thought about like what would a 4-pack be for each individual movie. Again, guys in suits, but fantastic characters. I love Nintendo. Some of that wouldn't work too well. Like mainly, I love Zelda and Metroid. I love Mario a lot too. Mega Man. But I mean, stuff like Metroid, you've just got Samus. I don't think you'd get further than that. There's no real main humans in that other than her.
Yeah, it almost seems like you'd have to do like a Super Smash Brothers line or something.
Yeah, I think that would like be better. I don't think they'd ever license it like that. Not that this is real, but I think they would keep them all separate. But yeah, it would have to be Smash, I think, because even Zelda to a point, you think about that, and it's like, well, it's Link, it's Zelda, it's Ganondorf, Sheik. And after that, it drops off pretty quickly for humanoids. I mean, you can do like, all sorts of enemy types, but really after that, it drops off pretty quickly. But it'd still be great to see. I've always wanted Assassin's Creed. That'd be another one. I mean, I love Batman. That's my first and main interest. And I know we did some before. I only got to do some at the very end. I only did wave 7 and 8. And the Gotham ones, I guess that was about it.
Do the designs for the uh, Batman Begins line that never happened?
Yes, that's true. Or it was Dark Knight. Oh, the Batman Begins line was before my time. I forgot about that. I always forget about that. Batman Begins was before my time. And I don't think that was in any kind of development when I started. I started in November, almost said 2026, 2006, 20 years ago, which is insane to think. I think that was finished by that point, and like it was already not coming out, if I remember correctly. But we did a proposal for Dark Knight, and that went nowhere. But we just did a few. It was basically iterations on Batman to show like you could make variants from essentially one figure and a Bruce Wayne, and that was it. And I don't think that was ever even remotely close to happening. But I would love to do like more, especially Batman, but DC in general. If I missed anything, Indy, James Bond, Star Wars, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, that's probably it. Looking around here.
Every one of those I would be on board with. I'd love every one of those. The one I would add that would be in my top 5, I'd love to see a line of horror mini-mates with Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger and Pinhead and
Right.
and Michael Myers and
I've never been a horror person, but I can see like the appeal of those would be good. We did the D-forms, but that was a very specific group of films we had to choose from. So that's why they ended up the characters they were. But yeah, to do like more classic, like 80s horror characters, 70s, 80s, that kind of thing, that would be pretty cool.
someone asked if Captain America in his Endgame uniform was that ever designed with his cracked shield and Mjolnir?
So that it was never designed. I think we saw the outfit long after the line was done because we do stuff so far in advance. There's not like a main time period, but well, a mini mate in general is we always said it's the same thing as a pregnancy. It's 9 months, so it takes 9 months to birth a mini mate. So whatever stage they were at in development of the movie, they may not have had that available yet, or they might have. Oftentimes with movies, they hold back stuff they don't want to be toys because it'll spoil something. So that was one that I guess was probably in the latter category of it being a spoiler of him being, because he wasn't, I haven't seen those in a long time now, he wasn't in a cap suit. Like he was in that, his like nomad suit or whatever. He had like the star was removed. That's how he looked in Infinity War, right? So I think it was considered a spoiler probably that he was fully Captain America again. So it was never done. But the funny one with that, the team suits, we tried to get everyone or that's what we call them. I guess they're the Quantum Realm suits. We tried to get as all of them out. And the way we were able to do that was to share base bodies and give everyone alternate heads. That was my idea, was like, okay, there's no way we can get, I think it was 11 characters or so, or 12. There's no way we can get them all out. But if we package them together as it can be character X or character Y, and then we can get them all out. And so we were going ahead with that. And I decided to pair them with, even though the tampo I think was the same on all the suits except for the women, and not counting Hulk or War Machine or Rocket, the body was the same, but I paired them with similar body types. So it was like it made sense that Tony Stark and Scott Lang were together, and I forget. I think Hawkeye was under Hulk because he was the only one left. But pairing similar characters. So I put Captain America and Thor together. So in that set, I had Mjolnir in the set, and I got in a lot of trouble because they wanted to know how I found that out. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, we need to know how you found that out. And I was like, found what out? And because on the design sheet, Mjolnir was next to Captain America. I had no idea. So once I realized what they're saying, I was like, oh, you just told me. And they're like, oh, okay. So they're like, as long as you say it's Thor's hammer that can only be held by Thor or something like that, then we're allowed to do it. So I think it said that on the box. It was like Thor's Mjolnir as held by Thor and only Thor, or I don't know. It's something silly like that. but basically I was in a lot of trouble and I had no idea why, just because I was pairing body types together. So that was kind of a fun time. So, but yeah, by the time the movie's out, that's the other thing too, is like I know a lot of people requested Cap in that outfit after the movie is out, but then the movie's out, it's going to be another 9 months before we can make it, and then retailers are like, well, we don't want Endgame now, we want the next movie. They're not going to be stocking the previous movie from like a year ago. So that was sort of the issue with that. And I know people say it's a big gap in that collection, and that's happened with other movies too, like not just Marvel, but other ones. And it's just unfortunate. It's just part of the way toys work. So, because I know people too said, like, we'll make a set where it's all the missing characters, but that's a whole other nightmare. So, yeah.
So
Because I
when
know
you
like
say,
Final Battle Whiplash was one of them at the time, and it's like that was so late in the game that just wasn't possible. And then his suit itself would be like half a tool, so then you have to try and figure out how can we get half a tool devoted to one character in a year after the movie's being out, and nobody's really interested in the movie anymore because the next one's out, and it's just a logistical nightmare. So.
and so 9 months is 9 months from until it's solicited, right? And then it's still another 4 months until the factory produces it.
9 months is a tight from blank design sheet to in store.
Okay.
Yeah, so I always went a little, gave myself extra time just in case. Doesn't take me too long to do a design, but if something else comes up, I did a lot of different things for the company. I designed statues and things like that, and I was also a support staff on other projects. So different project managers would find that they needed a quick graphic or they needed a sculpt change, so I'd help with them. So I always gave myself like a month to do a design. It never really took a month, but it was just in case. And that's why if people are following me on Instagram and they see my designed on this day, and sometimes you'll see a giant gap between a wave, like half the wave was a month ago, and then 2 months later, the rest of the wave is designed. It's that kind of thing where I got busy and something happened. So it's put in there in case something like that happens, but production itself was always shorter and it could be done. But I think the factory would have liked more time, but sometimes it just had to happen that way. So yeah, it could be longer. It could be 9 months plus 3 or 4 sometimes as well. But the 9 is the shortest amount of time. If it's a entire repaint, we could get it done in less, like 6 maybe. But that was tough, and that was more like for San Diego, because San Diego exclusives, people would want them pretty fast. So, but that would be no new parts. New parts take about 2 or 3 months. I forget now. Something like that. It takes a while for them to get made. So, yeah.
So if someone was asking, so the Planet of the Apes Minimates, they're definitely not coming out. What about anything like, didn't Diamond have their own factory? Like, what happened to the factory when they went bankrupt? And do you think anything was made on those waves that we never got?
I don't know, honestly. I don't believe it was a Diamond specific factory. I think they did other things because the Minimates factory, I used to get samples in bags from other products. They made, I don't know what they were exactly. I never saw the product. I saw the bag. They made like accessories for women's shoes, so they didn't click on, like, high heel shoes wouldn't click on tiled floors. So that was something else. They wear so many hats at those factories. They do so many different things. I think we're like Minimates were probably just a small part of that. So yeah, so I don't honestly know what's happened. I haven't heard from any of them. It really isn't my place, I guess. I was in contact with them a lot during production, but I never heard from them after that. So I don't really know what happened. So
Yeah, it makes you wonder if a new owner would pick up with those designs and just pick up where I left off, or if they'd go in a new
yeah,
direction.
I don't know, honestly. Some of them I knew how far along they were, and I think stuff probably went on hold for a while too. So I don't think there's any, because I know I've had people message me and they're like, there's got to be crates of these things just waiting to ship. And I'm like, I don't think they were. So it's unfortunate, but it's, I don't think there's going to be any like crazy finds of stuff happening. I think they would have to pretty much start. I'm also not sure how the factories work in terms of like, would they keep any of that or would they keep molds and stuff, or do they might just purge them? I have no idea. I'm just guessing at this point. So
Yeah, I've wondered that too. What happened to the not just the molds for all the unique parts, but just the base body molds? Like,
yeah,
so
because
nothing to
tooling, the tooling, essentially, if people don't know, I should have dug some things out to show. It could have been show and tell. Tooling is essentially when you get, like if you get a model car kit and you get the sprue with all the parts laid out, that's what a Minimate looks like when they tool it. I have a sprue of arms and legs, I think. They sent me one to proof a glow in the dark plastic ones, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing, and so I kept it. But it's all laid out like a sprue. But the thing is, basically, the actual tooling or whatever you want to call it is a giant metallic sandwich that the parts sit in when they make it. There's like a bottom part, the mold, the shape is half in that and then half in the top. They put it together, they inject the plastic in, it makes the sprue, and that's what it is. So those tools, the metal tools, they have to be maintained. So that's part of the problem too, where people would say, well, you'd get a figure and they're like, well, this hair is a terrible hair piece. Why did you choose that? You should have chosen this hair piece instead. The problem is if the tool's not maintained regularly, it goes bad, essentially. I don't really know why that is. I think it's just the type of metal it's not treated or anything. So that old hairpiece tool might just be gone. It's not usable, it's not obtainable, or they can't find it. It's just gone. So that's part of the problem in that, where people would think that a better part was better suited. Odds are I probably thought that as well, but it just wasn't available to me. So I think with those tools, even if they had them, if they're not going to be maintaining them, so they would probably go bad and not be usable. So, but also if they're taking up space, they might just get rid of them. I have no idea. So,
we had another question for you. Were there any designs that were rejected that you thought that decision was just insane? Like, how could that be rejected?
uh, so I'd say, so I can't think of anything off the top of my head. There's outright rejection, like no way, no how, you can't make this. I don't think that ever really happened. If it did, it was probably for some reason like probably like movie based, and they didn't have the rights to make that character, or it was a massive spoiler, that kind of thing. Um, but usually that kind of stuff was dealt with on paper before anything started, because we'd know who we'd make. You'd submit a line plan and they'd say, no, you can't do that. So very little got like through a whole design before they would say you can't do that. There was often changes, like you would design something and they're like, no, you have to change stuff, and that happened a lot. I don't think there's anything necessarily that I wouldn't agree with. Sometimes I was confused why I was that way if they didn't really explain. And when I say they, I'm saying like any licensor. I'm not talking about anyone in particular. It's just the nature of the beast kind of thing. There might be certain changes where they just didn't feel that it looked quite like the character. It might be something where they thought, maybe I drew something that was too risque. That happened a few times where they're like, tone it down a bit, please. Usually on females. There might be stuff like that. Nothing I don't think that I really, would die on a hill defending. I often understood why. Sometimes it was disappointing, but I don't think I ever really disagreed. There's one that I can think of that, yeah, but again, I agree with it. We did try at one point to make for the Amazing Spider-Man 2. We made Uncle Ben's Killer, and in hindsight, not a great toy. And so we did it. It was all going through the processes. I have a sample of that. It got to a factory level, and it's just the dude that killed Uncle Ben, and we called him criminal, I think. And then finally somebody said, you can't do that. And I sort of like, why can't you? Oh yeah, that's kind of morbid, isn't it? You know, like for a brief moment, I was like, I got to fight this. And then I'm like, no, I get it. That was a really stupid idea. Like that was so stupid. Why did we do that? So I'm glad they said no. Finally, somebody was like, that's ridiculous. So that's why you got the civilian Max Dillon instead, which I think is a far better figure, because I know people didn't like that version of him, but the nerd version of him is such a good little toy, and it comes with like the Spider-Man newspaper and stuff like that. That's such a better toy than to put like the guy who shot Uncle Ben on a peg at Toys R Us. So like, I don't know why we thought that would be a good idea. I think we're just trying to be like, who else is in this movie? And then you just look through and you say, you know, who can we do? Who's important? What can we make a toy of without it being like a fifth version of Spider-Man or something like that? So that was a bad choice. So I wouldn't have defended it. I defended it for 5 seconds, but that was maybe about it. So
You've kind of touched on this in the past, but how did it work with actors' licenses? Where I know some characters you weren't allowed to use your license, some you were, but then also did the licensor approve the actor's likeness after you drew it, or did the actor themselves have to approve it?
that's got a wide selection of variables there. So I know it was often said we don't go for actor likeness. Um, I don't know why that was said. Maybe it was a legal thing. No, I don't really know. But I think for all movie stuff, the licensor expected it to look like the actor, because sometimes the likeness wouldn't quite be right, and they'd say no, like do it again, do it again. That was a problem early on, and why we adapted a bit. Originally, the faces were a lot more, I want to say, it's weird to say, but a lot more Minimate-ish. If you remember like earlier stuff, they were a lot more comic looking. Eyes were a lot bigger. Mouths were a lot more maybe expressive. I don't know how to say. Like we used to have. I know people after a while would get upset that we have all the girls were smirking and look kind of come hither. Like it was that sort of era. So we were doing that with like early Marvel stuff, and eventually they're like, it doesn't look like them. It doesn't look like them. So the first one I drew, movie likeness, was Natalie Portman for Jane Foster, and they're like, that's it. That's her, approved. And we were like, oh, so we have to tone down the cartooniness of it, but it still needs to be a cartoon, but not really a cartoon. So that's the sort of thing that it's like, it looked like her. You could look at her and go, yeah, that's her. But at the same time, it wasn't really her. I don't know. It's sort of a weird thing. So we would try to make it look like them as much as possible. Sometimes we were told we couldn't. Again, this is all movies, like any studio. Sometimes we were told we couldn't do a character just outright, and that was sort of it. Other times they were fine with the way it is. I think there's different levels too. Some actors would sign off where the studio would look at it, and that would be enough. Some of them, I think their agents probably looked at it. And there are a few times that I heard that specific actors would look at the stuff, which one of them was weird. I was going through approvals, and it sort of had generic, I forget what it said. Like you'd get a list of your things, and it would say like, the following things are approved. And it'd say, so-and-so approved, please go on to whatever the next step kind of thing. And they all have these generic approved period, please continue on to the next step of production. And you go down the list and you get a million of these, and all of a sudden one of them said like haha, that's awesome. And then it kept going back to approve, please go on to. I'm like, what was the haha, that's awesome? And I found out it was an actor who needed to see it. And I was like, excuse me? And they were just sort of like, yeah, anyway. And I'm like, no, I'm having a moment right now. You're telling me so and so saw my drawing? And they're like, yeah, anyway, approved, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I got to take a minute here. I'm hyperventilating. I didn't know they were going to look at a drawing I did of them. And they're like, they thought it was good. I'm like, I know, I'm well aware. It's just now I'm panicking and sweaty and I can't even listen to what you're telling me anymore. So it's sort of weird like that, where it's depending on what they want. And some of them, I guess, wanted to see it, but they didn't need to approve it. They just wanted to see it. And other times, yeah, they would approve it. So I just like too that I've had 3 times that actors were shown their stuff on live TV. One of them was, it was, I just blanked on his name. Whiplash, I talked about earlier. Mickey Rourke on Jimmy Kimmel, and they showed him that, and they were like, "That's fantastic." And then they made fun of the electric whips, and they said they looked like snot strings. And I was like, "I don't care. They're making fun of me on Jimmy Kimmel. That's great." But they showed him those for the first time there, and they showed again, blanking on the name, Aldrich Killian there in Iron Man 3. Guy Pearce, yeah. He was on a Australian talk show, and they showed him his, and he was like, "That's amazing." And I'm like, this is really cool. So some of them, yeah, I guess they wouldn't see them at all. They had no idea. I guess it's just part of their agreements where they're like, and we're going to make toys of you, and they sign off on it. So
I'm guessing you designed the Doctor Strange movie Minimates, right?
yeah, I think that might have all been me.
The female zealot Minimates,
Yeah.
that
So
reached out to me and she bought up like all 30 sets we had of her for her to sign it on
she
the
was, yeah, she was so thrilled, and I forget how that. I think we contacted her. I don't think she contacted us, and I actually sent her. I sent her a print of the design, all the prototypes that I had. Not all of them, I guess. I kept one of each or whatever. But I sent her the parts, and I sent her the prototype, and I sent her the boxed final one, and she was like just unbelievably excited for those. So I actually sent her those and sent her a letter kind of thing. And the funny thing is, she was chosen just because we had like pictures of like 8 or 10 or however many zealots there were. And I was like, she's the most interesting looking one. That was the only reason why, unfortunately. Like, just sometimes that happens. You get a photo and there's no context. They're like, here's a bunch of dudes in costume. And you're like, all right. So you're like, that one, I guess. And you have no idea if they have lines in the movie or whatever. So she just happened to be the most interesting one with the hair that she had. So I said, okay, let's make her, and let's make this guy over here because he looked like the tough one kind of thing. And that was why she got chosen. So it was just total coincidence that she was chosen. I don't even remember, like, she was in the movie, but I don't think she was more prominent than any of the others. I don't really remember, but yeah, she was thrilled because I guess she'd done acting before, but not like, it was more bit parts and background roles and stunts and stuff like that. So
one of the commenters said they read that not having noses was a way to circumvent actors' licenses. Is that accurate?
I have no idea about that, honestly. I think like that's not why Minimates don't have noses, as far as I know, unless that was something that went back to the 3-inch ones. That could have been a thing. That, if so, that was far before my time. I personally think they just look aesthetically better, except if people see on my Instagram, Slimer with no nose is terrifying. Slimer needed a nose. He's horrific without a nose, which is weird to say about a gelatinous green ghost with no legs, but I don't honestly know if that was a licensing thing or not. It's just one of those things, like with cartoons, why you don't see characters on a front view. A nose on a front view of a drawn picture is just alien. It's so strange. Even on The Simpsons, like seeing them straight on is just the most bizarre thing. So I would say, like, if it were up to me, that's why we don't have noses. But yeah, it could be a licensing thing. So
And this commenter, Smashmaster, also asked if we were going to be saving this recording. He's making a Minimates documentary and would like to refer to this. And yes, I am going to save this and post it as just a normal Instagram post when we're done here. So rest assured that will be taken care of. Caesar Carl flexed that he has 3,500 extra Minimates plus his full collection. So he wanted to flex on that. I'm curious, did you keep one of every Minimate you designed?
I have one of everyone I designed. I've got and the other thing too is I have one of everyone I designed, and then I have one of everyone I designed at the factory level, and then I have one of everyone I designed at the factory level if there were changes made. So, and then I might have the parts. I had to actually, people are going to hate me. I had to throw out a bunch of the old parts. The plastic is recycled cutoffs and stuff like that. And some of it went bad and I had to get rid of them. Like the pre-production unpainted ones, they stank. They were in Ziploc bags for a while. And I think like from the factory, and I don't think that did them well. So at one point I had all the unpainted parts of everyone that I designed too. So I worked on, I forget what the actual count is, but over 3,500 of them. Some of those may not have made it as far as production. So maybe take off, I don't know, even if you take off 500 of them. So I'd have 3,000 of them plus 3,000 samples plus 3,000 earlier samples plus whatever. It's a little crazy. So, but luckily they don't take up a lot of room. Luckily they're not 12-inch figures. So, because I don't know what I would do then. I'm not paying storage unit prices to store these things. So, yeah.
Well, I think we are going to wrap this up for this time, and we will have to do this again, do another Q&A in the future. But I just want to thank you. We really appreciate you being here and sharing your insights. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to the people watching as well.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I was so busy when I was doing this stuff that there wasn't often opportunities to do this kind of thing. It's nice to be able to talk to people about it because I did this for literally almost 20 years. It was 18 and a half years. It's nice to hear from people and hear that they liked what we did. It still kind of messes with my head that somebody would want to put something I drew on their shelf. Because, I mean, this whole room, except I've got this Star Wars line behind me. I designed these. Everything else in this room is from other companies. All the stuff I did is in the living room because I figure I used to have this stuff in the living room. People would be like, oh, you designed this? I'd be like, no. And they're like, well, that's weird. So I moved all the stuff I did to the living room, and all this is in my office. So it's that kind of thing where I'm like, this is what I chose to put on my shelf. Why would you put what I drew on your shelf? That doesn't make sense to me. So it's so nice to hear that. It means a lot to me. And it's just nice to be able to hear from people who liked the stuff and collected it, and it meant something to them, and they still like it. And yeah, so thank you to everyone who cared.
Awesome. Well, thanks for everyone for watching. And for those of you who weren't able to catch us live, we're having this recording posted so you can watch it again down the road. And like I mentioned, Barry and I are working on some cool stuff together that'll be coming out soon, and we'll do another one of these Q&As in the future. So start thinking about questions for next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.